you guys haven't watched the first video, y'all go watch the first video, because in that video I explained where I've been, what's been going on. I don't feel like doing it again. Okay, but I know some of you guys don't watch these videos in order or whatever, so go back there and watch that video. What's up, Roxstars? It's Rox with a little bit of talk about what's at the top of the blog, so let's get to it. I say I'm gonna take some time off, y'all. All the cashiers, they was like, somebody stole her truck. It was like, you can hear it all throughout the store. This Rox coming to you today with a review for Love and Marriage Detroit, Love and Marriage Huntsville, our book 4, Real Housewives of Atlanta. Let's get to it, shall we? All right, rock stars, first story up. So if you guys have been on Instagram and had realized that Royce Reed decided that she was going to do her own version of Who the Fuck Did I Marry, and give us the story of her and Dwight, how they came into meeting each other, how they conceived a child together, and the last 18 years of her life. Actually, she's been with him longer. I mean, been involved with him longer than that, but 18 years because their son is now 18 years old. And I'm assuming, even though she hasn't gone into depth about why all of a sudden that she is speaking, she did mention that there's a new agreement that they have. I'm assuming maybe because the child is now considered an adult, even though he is still a child. So they've changed some things on their custody agreement and all. And so she now, I guess, feels that she is able to speak when she wasn't able to do that in the past. So Royce's story is called I Had a Baby by Superman. If you guys don't know about it, she has an actual IG page that has that same name, and there, as well as on her own personal page, she is uploading videos that is detailing, or at least it's not going to be as in order, chronological, and just very to the point like the who the fuck did I marry story was. Some people will say it wasn't to the point, but to me, I thought that girl did a great job of telling her story. Royce's is, I think, because Royce is still involved in it and still emotionally really attached to this story, that it's hard for her to stick to task and everything. So, you've got to be able to sit and get through like all her other little weird little things that she does. But if you have time to listen to the story, if you so care, Royce is now blasting all the things that Dwight Howard has done to her. Again, I don't know what has prompted her to do this, other than the man has been making her life a living hell for 20 plus years. And so she is now letting us know. First of all, let me say that I do absolutely believe everything that Royce Reed is saying. I don't think the girl is lying. I don't think there's any reason for her to need to lie. Royce, admittedly, even on her own end, is she just kind of gives me flighty, kind of, naive, and not so much anymore, but like you could tell that that's exactly who she used to be, and probably lived a lot of her life in the clouds and just did not realize the type of person that she used to be. For her to hook up with a Dwight Howard was the absolute worst thing that could have happened. Okay. Shit, did I post that? I'm gonna be late to my book club meeting, and I think I just put the message. I hope I put the message through. I'll check after I finish the story. Anyway, so yes, I absolutely believe Royce Reed. I believed her back in the day when she was telling us, she wasn't going into depth, but she was telling us that, Dwight has always been in her life and made her life pretty miserable. I believed her back then. I believe her today. With that being said, I feel like Royce, I don't want to look like I'm blaming the victim. And it's probably going to come off that way, but that is not my intention. But I feel like Royce has allowed herself many, many times to be the victim because she is going to keep charging. I feel like she's allowed herself to become that victim because she has many times, even though this man has besmirched her, has treated her so badly, emotionally, physically, sexually, he's done so many things to her, yet and still she's always kind of allowed him to stay. Now I understand, you know, you be with somebody, you have feelings for them, you want to believe the best about them, you want to believe that, oh, we have a child together now, you know, people will change. Some people just don't change. I just feel like this story that Royce is telling is like the perfect precautionary tale for women who are, you know, young ladies who are getting involved with men who have shown you so many signs of who they are and that they're not a good person. Like when people show you these signs, like, you need to believe it. When men tell you that they don't want to be with you that way, they don't want to have kids with you and all that, like, those are the type of signs to me that you make the decision in your life. You either make the decision to not have this child because you're not going to have the help and you know you want to be in this relationship with this person, and if they don't want it, they ain't feeling it and all that, so you either decide not to have the child, or you decide to have the child and you realize that this is 100% on you. Okay, not a popular way of thinking. I understand that everybody has choices when they lay down with somebody and have a baby and all of that. But to me, when a man tells you they don't want to have children, like, that is the biggest red flag. And you know, you would need to take it seriously. Now, when you are young, you believe that things will change, you know, you live your life in the clouds and all of that. I've been there. Trust me, I have been there. So you believe that they'll come around, or, you know, that they'll change their mind and all that, and a lot of times they don't. And if Royce's story don't let you know that, then I know something, because this man has been horrible to her whole life, and she's continued to go back. I know that is a person that's been in like DV situations, you know, that is one of the things, like, they continue to allow themselves to be treated that way. Even if she was getting treated that way while she was younger, I still won't ever understand why she went and decided to try to make things work with him at Pandemic. Pandemic was only 4 or 5 years ago, you guys. It was like you were still going through all of this and still tried to give him a chance. But then hearing her talk about the story, it doesn't even sound like they were in a relationship. It was more, she said it was going to be like a sister wives thing. So it wasn't just her and her child that was living there, but also a couple of his other baby mamas. Again, she's not very clear on the story, like the way that Who the Fuck Did I Marry? Her story kind of jumps around. So you got to just sit there and listen. Yeah, Dwight is full of shit and he's awful. He's been a horrible person. He's got a lot going on. He does have powerful people in his back pocket. You know, we know that his uncle was a big DA here in Atlanta for many, many years and only left when he retired, and that's who Fanny took his position. But he you know, he has a lot of people. He's very powerful and all of that. But I'm just like, girl, I just hate that you thought that this nigga was gonna ever be right. He wasn't. You know, it's heartbreaking to hear what her son has been exposed to. We've talked about, you know, there in the blogs, they had let us know that the son had some issues with another child, touching him inappropriately. This was back when the kid was around 10 or 11, 12, somewhere in there. And so we never fully got a story of why that kid was that way. You know, everybody just was sort of like, oh, that's her child and all of that. But, you know, her explaining, like, how it came to be. It looks like it's like a generational curse that keeps coming and going and coming and going. And, you know, her just exposing all of that. I just am listening to it and I'm just like, I think that she's doing this now because she feels like her life is in danger. I mean, that's what she said at the end of the last video that I watched, which was, I think, part 3. But she said that she feels like he's going to eventually off her. And so she's kind of putting this out as a protective thing for herself. I mean, we was going to think that he had something to do with it if something did happen to her, period. Okay, we was just going to think that anyway. But, I don't know. I hate that this man has had such a stronghold on her life for so long. And that she has been suffering for so long. It's just like, damn, you guys' kid is almost 20 fucking years old. You know, he's 18 years old. And now it's like, you should be free of Dwight and anything. And she still won't even say his name. Like, she won't say his name. That has been something, I think that's even in their legal paperwork, that she can't mention his name and all. But I just am just like, oh my God, Royce. I just hate that this woman is still going through it. And it's just like the things that are unanswered when you're watching that, which is my question is, girl, what exactly else is going to come of this? Like, your son's 18 years old now, so I am pretty sure that son can decide that he don't want to fuck with his daddy no more, and the courts can't make him do it. Okay? So, to me, and if Dwight has never helped you anyway, other than him trying to control you financially, if he hasn't helped, like, it seems like it would be so easy to just break the tie. But it's not. And obviously the man is still has a stronghold in her life, and she seems like she's had a pretty miserable life her whole time. And, you know, she talks about other relationships that she's had, other people that she's been with. But to me, when you listen to Royce, it's almost like her maturity, it was stunted, because she has always had to deal with all of this stuff. So she's like, hasn't been able to blossom and you know, it's just like always some shit with, and again, young ladies out there, especially, when you listening to her story, if it don't do nothing else, it ought to let you know that some of these niggas, they just don't change. And when a nigga tell you he don't want no kids, don't have no damn kids with him. Even if they might just be scared and they eventually might come around and all that, don't take the fucking chance. Okay? Because on top of you being 100% responsible for your child, you also got to deal with a motherfucker that might be crazy and might continue, even though they moved on with relationships and all that, still making sure that you don't have happiness in your life and all that. Listening to that, I just shook my head. I feel sorry for her, because I'm just like, girl, and it's not going to end, because, you know, it's like I feel like Royce feels like such a small, she calls herself an ant trying to eat an elephant. Okay. And, I feel so bad for her. I feel bad for her, because that one decision, when she first said that she didn't want to have the kid and she had every intention of getting an abortion, and then she heard the heartbeat and all that, and it changed everything for her. And then from then on, that man has not wanted to deal with her in any kind of way, you know, truthfully. Because, you know, he might have put on an act and did this and changed his mind every now and then and do that and all of that. But really, Dwight don't want to be with Royce. He don't want that child. He don't want her. All that. We'll see what happens. I'm going to continue to watch. You guys let me know what you think about it. Like, how do you feel about Royce? Are you guys like me? Every time I see Royce, I feel bad. I feel sorry for her. And so I'm hoping that, if anything, I'm hoping that this conversation that she's having and letting people know her truth and everything, maybe that is the closure that she needs so that she can just move on. But something tells me it's not. And something tells me something more is going to happen with this story. And that's unfortunate, because at the end of the day, you got a kid that has been suffering for many, many years at the hands of his parents. Okay. So, but I feel like Royce's problem is her naivety. I feel like she even still is not, well, I won't say even still. I think that she's got a good grasp on things now, but even still, when you listen to her talk, it's just like, it just feels like the growth has stunted because of all the trauma that has gone on with that relationship. So, but you guys let me know what you think. Have you been watching the video and listening to her have her conversations? I'm definitely going to be tuning in. Because I just want to hear. But to me, I still don't feel like she's giving us the specifics that we need. She every now and then will throw some names out there to kind of like probably let the other side know that she ain't fucking around, and that she could even say more. So she just mentions names and she don't mention stories. But for example, there's a part in the end of this last one that I watched where she's talking about Dwight being at a puffy party with a red dress on, and she doesn't extend on that. Okay. But so still listening to the story is just sort of like, girl, if you're gonna say it, like, give it to us all, give us the whole thing, because we here now. Okay, you say you don't give a fuck, we definitely don't give a fuck. So say it and let the cards fall where they're made. But we can't keep on with all this half telling the story, all of like, we ain't got the time, child. We ain't got the time, sis. So yeah, y'all let me know. Oh, I'm tired, y'all. I'm tired. Y'all let me know what you think about the videos. Have you been watching? Do you feel a certain way about Royce? You know, about Dwight? Do you feel like in a couple of years, this Amy girl that he is engaged to now, do you believe that she is going to have a different story, sing a different story? Is this another woman that he has in his way? Because according to Royce, he was just engaged to another girl while he was on Dancing with the Stars. So the whole thing is weird, though. Dwight Howard is weird to me. I told you guys, something about him just gives me the ick. I just be like, ooh, he's so weird, and this hair and this whole Little Richard-esque type of way that he is. Like, I'm just So y'all let me know what you think about all of that, and we'll move on to the next story. Next, let's talk about Denzel, you guys. Yes, Denzel Washington, the one and the only Denzel Washington, who just celebrated his 70th birthday. Still looking good, y'all. You getting a little Paw-Paw-esque, but still looks great. Love to see Denzel with his family, his wife, his kids. I know that they have been through a lot together, though. It's just nice to see that this family unit has stuck together. And I'm sure they've made it through a lot of trials. Okay. But now that everybody is back settled, grown, you know, and living their life, and it looks like Denzel and Pauletta are like very happy together. And you know how it is sometimes when as you get older, you start to, I think you're conscious, and the things that you know about yourself that maybe you've been putting off for many, many years, you know, I think as you get older and your own mortality and things start to happen, you start to realize that maybe I need to listen to these signs. Maybe I need to start to act on these signs. And I say that because Denzel Washington said that he's always had like this feeling that he was called to ministry. His father, Denzel Washington Sr., you know, Denzel is a junior, but hold on. But his father was a Pentecostal minister, okay, back in New York where he's from. And so he's always had that as an example that he's seen, and he said that he's always felt like that calling. He's always felt like that was probably something that he needed to do. However, he's been compromising that part of his life because he's this big time actor, and hell, he was a sex symbol for, you know, still is one for many people. He was one for many years. Like, how you just up and say, I'm gonna be a minister now, you know? So he said that he compromised, did his career, did other things, lived his life. But again, we done made it to 70. We seeing things now that make sense differently than I guess it did years ago. And so now he was baptized, you guys, just recently baptized, and he received his license for ministry. Okay. And if you guys saw the video, we saw it looked very, very heartwarming to see somebody who is top of the A-list in Hollywood, you know, and them, as much as being baptized is not a huge statement, but it is as well. You know, of course it is, when that's not what people know you for, you know. So he is baptized. He looks like he was full of the Spirit then. And then we see Pauletta talking and saying how, you know, she's just so proud of him and that they've been through this together. He's a perfect example for his kids, you know, and that they all know who he is and know who God is because of him. And I mean, it was just, to watch it, you know, he was so overcome emotionally with the things that Pauletta was saying that he actually had to sit down just to be able to listen to it and absorb it. And I mean, it's just beautiful to see that this couple has been able to, again, I'm sure they've navigated a lot. I ain't been married as long as they have, but when you've been with somebody for that long, you best believe y'all done been through some shit. Okay. And for them to land on the other side and for everybody to be happy, for Denzel to finally listen to his calling and, you know, get his ministry license. Like, I just think that's so commendable and just so wonderful. And, you know, they asked him about it and he said, well, you know, a lot of people in Hollywood don't talk about their faith. It's not sexy, you know, people don't want to know what you believe and all of that, even though there are people in Hollywood, of course, that have talked about their faith and, you know, that you know them as whatever their religion is. But for the most part, it's not talked about like this. And then, of course, somebody like a Denzel is just not something that you expected. But it was nice. I just can look at Denzel and tell that he is in a different space in his life right now. He's going to get, like he said, he's going to get through these last few obligations that he has, some movies, some plays or whatever, and then he's retiring. And I think he's probably going to, sorry you guys, I think that he is probably going to really concentrate more on his faith and his new path as a minister, you know. So good for him, good for him. You guys will have to let me know, like, what you think about that. Like, who would have ever thought that Denzel was going to be that person? Like, I felt like Denzel has always spoken out about, you know, his childhood, his father, you know, and all of that, but never this out loud. I mean, we ain't knew the man was getting his ministry license, you know, so that's great. I just can tell that Denzel and Pauletta, even though I didn't heard that Pauletta don't play. I heard that she don't play that shit, and I guess you don't play when you are married to Denzel Washington, okay? So I'm sure she done been through and had to let a whole bunch of folks know that she is not the one or the two, okay? But again, beautiful to see that they've made it, and we'll continue on. Y'all let me know what you think about that. Did you see the video of him being baptized? Wasn't your heart touched? Or was it just me? Child? Everything touched me these days, child. Anyway, congratulations to Denzel, and let's move on to the next story. Okay, you guys, again, this is off the top of my head, but I am going to say a rest in peace to Greg Gumbel. Greg Gumbel did die. I'm sorry, this last week has just been a blur. I almost feel like I want to say it was right before Christmas. Was it Christmas Eve? It was one of those days. If you guys don't know, Greg Gumbel was like the CBS sportsman. If you saw a black face on there back in the day, you know, I'm sure CBS has way more now, but back in the day when you saw the black face, you saw the curly hair, you know, most times it was going to be Greg Gumbel. He's just done everything for CBS Sports, okay? NFL games, Super Bowls, NCAA tournaments and all that. Like, he was that person. He actually was the one who opened doors for many, many others, including his brother. You guys probably know Bryant Gumbel, who became an even bigger name than Greg Gumbel. Because Brian Gumbel, he also was like a sports commentator, but Brian Gumbel actually spreaded himself out to other avenues. It wasn't just necessarily sports. And I actually thought Brian Gumbel was older than Greg, but no. I'm not a sports person, so I'm not going to sit here and act like I know much about Greg Gumbel. When I was reading, though, you know, of course, we had the president, CEO of CBS saying that, you know, that Greg Gumbel, what people don't realize is that he set the standard, and he opened a lot of doors for many other Black people to come in and do the same thing, both men and women. And, you know, you just have to pay, you have to let these people know, give them their flowers, of course, while they're alive. I believe that the Gumbels know what they have done, what they have lent to society in the positions that they were. Even Greg more so than Bryant. But, you know, I feel like Bryant picked up the baton and just took off after his brother. But, you know, it is good that, you know, people have a lot to say about Greg. First of all, they're saying that he was a great guy, nice person, and knew his sports. Okay, he was still married, and he leaves his wife and his daughter behind, Michelle and Marcy. I'm surprised I can remember that child. He was 78 years old, which is like amazing. I did not realize back in the heyday when everybody knew who Greg Gumbel and Brian Gumbel were, I didn't realize that Greg Gumbel is just, he was closer to my parents' age than I realized. I always thought that he was more, you know, I always thought that they were younger. They were good looking brothers, and they both looked much younger than I realized. But yeah, you guys, he was 78 years old. He died from, they just said cancer. Did not say what type of cancer that he had. But I think back in sometime around the beginning of the pandemic, I think that he took a break. He was gone, and he took a break from CBS Sports, and they said that he was having like a family health emergency. They didn't never say what it was, but I think that was probably around the time when he found out and all of that, and they were probably fighting it, treating it, I should say, and he's been fighting it ever since. So yeah, you guys, very, very sad to see. Many of his friends and family and fans all over the world will miss him, but rest in peace to Greg Gumbel. All right, you guys, and then lastly, because I'm already late to my meeting, Young Thug, mama named him Jeffrey Wright, child. This conversation that they caught, they didn't catch it. You know, they record all the conversations that the inmates are having, and we saw Young Thug talking to one of his male friends about a bunch of stuff. But the part that we saw on Instagram, which I was just like, y'all are so wrong for posting this man's conversations like this. Yes, I know it's public record. Yes, it's stuff I know that you can probably ask for, fill out the paperwork for open records, and then get the stuff. But still, it's just like, why do you guys do that? Like, why? You know, so this man is in jail. Let's just like look at the whole picture. Not saying that I'm trying to give any excuse for Young Thug or anything, but when you look at the whole picture, you have a man that has been in jail for damn near 2 years. Still hasn't been charged. Hasn't been convicted of anything, but has been held in jail for 2 years. People admittedly saying that they've lied on him and all of that. Okay. You have him with a girl, Mariah the scientist, who he's been with the whole time that he's in jail. I feel like they got together either right before he went in or maybe even after he went in. But she's been there with him, and, you know, she's always made it very clear that she's there for him. She loves him. She's serious, like she 100% in his corner. Okay. And of course we could only go by what she was saying because he's been in jail that whole time. But I lost my train of thought. But no, what I was saying was, so he's in jail. He's got this woman who is there, and you know, and of course I'm sure he loves the fact that he's got somebody that is so 100% in his corner, you know. But we got to remember who Young Thug was before he went in jail. And not that we knew all these stories about him out there hoeing and doing shit with a whole bunch of women and everything, but he's a rapper. He's like a well-known, well-loved rapper, big time Atlanta. The home of the big booties and girls and all of that. So you know that thug has probably been out there. So when he was having this conversation with the guy, and he was just saying, you know, the guy was like, yeah, I talked to Mariah, you know, she just loves you. She loves you so much. And he was like, yeah, she loves me too much. Like, it scares him. Well, I mean, I guess I could understand that, you know, because he was just being truthful. Like, you know how I am. Like, it's always at least 10 women around. Okay. He can't have all these women not physically around him, but, you know, they still like floating around in the background and shit. But Mariah gonna be the main because she the one that's been held it down the most. But he probably already knew that once he got out of there that he was gonna go back to his old ways, you know. So the fact that he kind of was saying that he knew he was going to hurt her eventually, okay. My thing to niggas like this is just like, in order to keep from wasting everybody's fucking time, just when you know you like that, just leave these women alone. When you know you have a woman that loves you the way that this child does. I don't even follow Mariah, so I couldn't even tell you what the girl looked like. But every time I've seen her post come up on Instagram and everything, it's just like always her undying love. Like, when you know that a girl feels like that about you and you know you can't be there for them like that, leave them alone. Quit wasting they fucking time. Even if you have to be the one to make the decision to leave them alone, even if they can't make it for themselves, I'm asking men to do it themselves, okay? Because now this video is out where he's talking about him being with all these women, and who ends up looking stupid is Mariah, who's been there the whole time, okay? Now, again, me personally, you know, when you be with somebody that's been in jail and like that, like, you had to have known also that there was gonna be other bitches around. Like, you ain't the only one, okay? So maybe she was naive in thinking that she was the only one, but that's not how they do. I think that conversation just let us know that he was not quite ready. And, you know, that was his way of saying that he's not ready to be there, even though he's gotten out and now she's been mad and he had to apologize to her and all that after he had embarrassed her and all. But, you know, she's just like, she is... Oh shit, I gotta get off of here, you guys. I wasn't really mad at him because when you in jail, like, I just don't know why women even tie themselves down to men that are in jail like that. Because it's just not a realistic, the life is not realistic. So, you know, it's easier for a person to say I'm with you when I can't be with none of you, okay? When you free and you out there in these streets and you make a conscious decision to be committed to somebody, then to me, that's different. So I felt sorry for Mariah. I don't see that relationship lasting, because he's already admitted there's other women around, and I'm thinking that Mariah doesn't want all those women around her man. So, okay, their man, I should say. So anyway, y'all. But I saw that video and I was just like, why y'all putting this man shit out there like that? Just messy. You already know when people in jail how the rules change anyway, you know. So anyway, yeah, I'm gonna get on off of here because I'm late to my meeting. I'm coming, y'all. All right, you guys, that is it. I'm gonna get on off of here. I want to say Happy New Year to everybody out there. You guys be safe and be well. We do this every single week, so make sure you thumbs up the video, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you come back.